Fireburst Autobomber has been one of my most favorite builds for quite a while now. And in this video I want to show all the details of this character. However, as I have made quite a few videos on Fireburst Autobombers in general already, I will spare you with the details about how the build exactly works and just go over my items and my pathing and my build and share my thoughts on why I'm going for which items and how I crafted those. Also, I want to apologize, this video was meant to come out quite a bit earlier, and by now I wanted to have made my giveaway for all my characters and stuff already, but I will delay that until a later point soonish. I was struggling with quite a mental down lately as I was getting ill right on the day of my first cube exam in karate, which is quite a high exam at this point, which led to me failing this exam, which had a very high toll on my mental health. I do really not like failing anything, and especially karate I'm taking very seriously, and I have felt like let down my sensei and my dojo quite a bit, which like really didn't go easy on me. So I have to apologize for, well, not making this video and being kind of a failure, but yeah, let's take a look at the character, and I just want to explain why this comes so late and why there really wasn't anything heard about me for quite a while now. So, as I said, we do know quite a bit about the character already, so let's take a look at the gear. I am very proud of the character in its current form, and I really like how it's turned out. So first we are going to take a look at the two unique items we are using on this character, as these are very easy to explore. First of all, we are running a headhunter. We are an autobomber, we just want to run maps fast. However, if you do not like the playstyle of a headhunter, you can just replace this by a mage blood or by just a rare belt with damage over time multi or movement speed or anything like that. There are quite some interesting options out there from influence bases. In previous versions I would also run cooldown recovery, but in the current form I don't really think cooldown recovery is any needed, so I just ditch it on most of my pieces. The second very interesting piece on this character is the Lost Unity Ring. This is a new introduction of this league and basically just gives the Herald of the Hive skill. This is the Nova you're seeing on my screen, pulsing around and basically giving the character the next trigger to just trigger Fire Burst and more possibilities to just go full autobomber. In the past you had to work around utilizing Herald of Thunder a bit with stuff like Shaper of Thorns. How the this icon, what the Shaper of Storms. And being able to then shock with your explosions to trigger Herald of Thunder and triggering Fireburst with that, and then reducing the cooldown and stuff like that, and all the stuff, and we just don't care about that anymore. So yeah, Herald of Hive helps a lot, especially with the Herald and Golem stacking variation we're talking about at the moment. Then obviously the hard piece of the build, the staff. The staff has cost me, I do think, about 600 divines maybe. Was quite expensive, but way under what I had expected to build it. I had talked about this already. I have attempted this craft in a couple of leagues and it broke me every single time. It's a very difficult craft as you have to fracture the fire damage, which is the easy path. You can convert some bases and stuff with recombination and some base shenanigans. If you're interested in that, free to ask in the comments, but I can explain it there further. It's not that difficult, but it's kind of interesting. And then you just want to spam Fire Burst essences until you hit damage over time multiplier. Use suffixes cannot be changed via exalted orbs until you hit the 50% of a suffix veiled mod, and then the 1 in 5 I do believe for a fire damage over time multiplier. This on average costs like 400 divines or something, because hitting the dot multi alone is a 1 in 300 I do think, so very annoying. And yeah, not a cool craft at all. Then when the suffixes are done, you basically are finished. You just use suffix cannot be changed with Wild Bristle Matrons and use remove lightning and score again until you have tier 1 lightning. You can also use remove caster and stop with either fire or lightning, though I do prefer lightning for the higher max hit. And then you just craft gain Fire's Extra Chaos, or another good prefix, though Fire's Extra Chaos basically is the best one you have. Finishing off with the tailoring orbs or the other ones for weapons, how are they called? I do have some, I do believe. Tempering orbs for the fire explicit modifier. You can go with 10 or 12 or 15%, even though then you need higher attributes and would probably want to use a different timeless drivel to ignore attribute requirements, which is a very valid use case, especially if you want to add herald effect tattoos, and then you do not want to use lethal pride anyways, and this way you would get around the requirements and could just use the 15% explicit modifier, which is very good. Then let's take a look at the second very big piece. It's the Twilight regalia with elevated explode. Basically what you do want to do here is you want to recombine two bodies, one that has the double tier 1 energy shield and one that has the either elevated or non-elevated explode. You can elevate it after transferring over. However, you need 2 crusader bodies, so you just want to buy body armors with energy shield. Maybe I have some left even to show, but basically you just want some with double energy shield and then just have an open prefix and put a crusader suffix onto the item so that the item is eligible for a crusader mod. Then you want any form of hybrid or pure armor or evasion with the explode mod, either elevated or not elevated, and then 2 defense modifiers that are not pure intelligence, so evasion armor, evasion energy shield, armor evasion, armor energy shield, or armor or evasion pure in the prefixes, so that you have 3 prefixes and 5 prefixes in total. This gives you a very, very high chance of keeping the prefixes, and when it hits the Twilight regalia, you basically are guaranteed with energy shield, and the explode, and then you can craft the suffixes in any shape or form you're liking, like reforging or just Xing, or there are a lot of ways to make suffixes. For the Simplex, what you want to do is you do want to get a white base and spam memory strand until you have a decently good base. Like I aimed for, I do think about 80, I ended up with 86 on my best one, I do think. Then you want to make a magic, this will lose you some memory strand. Then you want to imprint it and roll for damage over time multiplier, and you make it rare and then roll it for damage over time multiplier because you cannot roll on the magic basis. Then when you have damage over time multiplier, you use 2 annulment orbs and hope to keep the damage over time multiplier. Here you can actually keep the 2 damage over time multiplier, and I did not roll with chaos orbs but with defense, because defense only has prefix modifiers, so we will never reduce our chance to hit the damage over time modifier and always just have random defense modifier. And I would stop on tier 2 damage over time multiplier or tier 1, then I would annul down, craft the prefix and throw a hunter exalted orb until we hit 5 damage over time multiplier. Then we do suffixes cannot be changed and forge speed, and if any of the mods are tier 2, you would try to upgrade them to tier 1 afterwards by the orb of something, the orb of unraveling, and just hope that they are going tier 1 modifiers. In the end you can divine it to perfection, though I didn't feel the need for the last percent of movement speed here. Then we have the ring. I'm using a cursed with flammability on hit ring here with tier 1 lightning resistance. I just spammed the dot multi essences for tier 1 resistances and then use suffix cannot be changed defense for the energy shield. If I had a better helmet, I would use fire damage here over the resistance and use a resistance helmet instead, though that's one of the reasons why the defense prefixes are not great, because I'm basically not finished with the ring. But yeah, probably never will. Though talking about the helmet is a double influence stitch circlet with enemies take metal damage and enemies have fire resistance. Basically, you're throwing helmets together until you have a decent suffix, then Exalted Orb for energy shield, and go with Veiled X for AoE, and craft the last prefix. Fairly easy craft, though extremely expensive and very frustrating to make. That's why we settled with a chaos resistance, because it was just draining my bank and I couldn't continue. For the gloves, I decided to go with a fractured Alba mod, which is fire resistance, added damage against burning enemies here. Then we rolled with Dance Fossils for triple tier 1 defense modifiers. I would have been fine with double tier 1 of the good rolls, and then go with the Veiled Chaos Orb for trying to hit +2 plus AoE or something and the like, and then finish off the suffixes. So we did hit triple tier 1, so I just went with a Veiled Suffix attributes here and then crafted the crit mod. And then we've just made the implicits, fire over time multiplier and fire exposure. Nothing too special here. The boots as well aren't too interesting, though fairly difficult to make. Not fairly difficult, but somewhat expensive. You basically just spam cannot be poisoned essences until you hit the tier 1 resistance, and then go with suffixes cannot be changed and reforge for the second tier 1 resistance, which can take quite a while if you're unlucky, and then you go with suffix cannot be changed through White Bristle Matron, Veiled Chaos until you hit your desired prefix, movement speed modifier, and craft the prefix. Due to the prefixes being you can make them over and over due to the implicits and prefix annulling. You could technically just aim for Exalted Slamming here for a tier 1 energy shield, though I didn't feel that was needed, so I do it. Then you just finish off the implicit. For the flasks, we are running a Coruscating Alex here for obvious reasons. We are running a Cinder Swallow with Recover Life on Kill, Recover Energy Shield on Kill, and Malediction. Then we have the Wine of the Prophet because it's a pretty cool flask, a movement speed flask, and a Bottled Faith. I really do have to change the movement speed flask, don't I? I kinda don't, but it's... yeah, I should do it before I do the giveaway, but whatever. Let's take a look at the tree. At this point, we can actually look at it without me shaming myself into the ground, because the jewels are so bad because I upgraded them. First of all, we are running a Watcher's Eye with damage over time multiplier, increased fire damage, and damage deals damaging elements, inflict deal damage faster. I'm sorry, I'm talking point. Then we run 3 times a large cluster with Primordial Bond, Energy Shield, 1 dead notable we have in the back, and then a good suffix here, this Chaos Resistance, Intelligence, and the big resistance. You could also run 2 other resistances here to drop the resistance on the ring, for example. Though I have Chaos Resistance here, which is fine as well. Then we have medium clusters with Lasting Impression, Empowered Envoy, Circling Oblivion, Fan the Flames, Rush with Death, Exposure Therapy. These are not that good, but I needed one with Reservation Efficiency. And then we have Lasting Impression and Empowered Envoy again, and 1 Megalomaniac with Volatile Presence and Primordial Bond. We're running Volatile Presence here so that our mana reservation actually works, because we need either Anger or Malevolence Reservation Efficiency. For the other jewels we are running, we have 1 Anima Stone, we have a Primordial Eminence with Reservation Efficiency, a Primordial Eminence with Corrupted Blood and Immunity, 1 more Primordial Eminence with Reservation Efficiency. We have 1 Lethal Pride that gives damaging faster, and I do believe 1 more, then 1 burning damage. This one is not as great anymore, but I did change the tree after putting it in, so we could change this to a better one. Then we have 1 Runegraft of Treachery for increased reservation efficiency. Also arrows to affect our enemies, but don't really care about that, as it's only Malevolence, Anger, and Discipline, and the values are so low that we just don't care about it. Then we have Forbidden Flame and Flash for the Shaper of Flames note. Here you basically can take any of Bringer of Ruin, Leech of Primordial, Shape of Flames, or Heart of Destruction. Heart of Destruction actually is very good because you can drop Mastermind of Discord then, which would make it possible to use Shape of Storms, which I do think is the better notable. But also run Shape of Winter or go with the... I don't have them open here, but there are some occultist notables that are pretty useful also. For the Pantheon, we are running Soul of the Brine King because I have selected it first, and then we have Soul of Tukohama because I selected it second. There is no particular reason for these, as they basically don't really do a lot. They give us freeze immune and stun immune, but not the idea of the character to get hit anyway, so they do exist. But yeah, if you have any questions about this character, actually, before we go into questions, I'll show my gem setups. I just noticed I didn't do. For the Fire Burst, we run Awaken Deadly Ailments, Awaken Swift Affliction, Ignite Prolif, Burning Damage, Combustion, and Cruelty. And basically all the rest are Golems and Heralds. We have some Flame Golem, some Stone Golem, some Chaos Golem, some Stone Golem of Safeguarding. We have a Herald of Ice, Arrogance with Discipline, and some Hitterbots. We have Anger, Malevolence, Herald of Purity, Herald of Agony, and Enlighten, and Herald of Thunder. And we have some Ice Golem, Herald of Ash, some Chaos Golem of Hordes, and the Flame Dash. So yeah, we just have all of this stuff plus our Flame Dash. So yeah, that's it for the character. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have any ideas of how to improve this further, let me know in the comments, and see you in the next one.